rather backlights us unless I just stand right here.
Well, don't do that. That's just annoying. It's fine. We're not running a fancy operation. At least as far as the video content goes. Everyone should know this.
Yes.
If you are here, hello. Drop a hey in the chat. I see a few people on here already. Awesome.
One of them is me.
I know one of them's you. We have Odin out. Odin, come here. Odin is his new name from his new mama. He was adopted over Reject Fest. So mama changed his name from AJ to Odin, which is adorable.
Hi, Carrie. Hi, Maria.
Hello, hello. Speaking of babies, how are both of your kiddos doing? Saturn and Calais. Went to Carrie and Maria, respectively. Yeah, Jody has Tear Out. He's one of the Platianery males, and then this is Odin. Odin's already found a home. So, but yeah, in a few minutes we're gonna jump in. I have a couple of questions from people that commented on actually both Instagram and the YouTube post that I did, and they commented after I had already made the Q&A video for this week. So I want to answer those and then kind of see like whatever questions you all have. Let me know. I need to go to my archives of Instagram to find my question post from, when did I do that, on Monday or Tuesday? I think Tuesday. I can't remember.
So while she's doing that, Carrie, this is one of the other Platianery boys whose coloring looks similar to Saturn's.
Mm-hmm. Oh, there it is. All right, cool.
By the way, it's 7:00 at night, so Snakes and Coffee Day, we're having wine. So
we're doing a little snakes and wine.
Cheers, all.
Serpents and sips. He has to cheers. He's like morally obligated to cheers, and I don't know why.
Not morally, just emotionally.
Okay. Yes, Tear is very, very sweet.
He is. He's super fun. He's very outgoing.
I'm going to get Ara out because she's playing with her lock. So I'm going to switch him out for Ara because Ara hasn't gotten out yet today.
Okay.
Ara, oh wait, you really want out. Hold on.
Ara is another one of the Aneries. She's got some really dark blacks. Her patterning is really bold and cool. But she is also all kinds of shenanigans. Maria, that is such an interesting thing to hear. So, Abby, Maria says that what a difference it is getting a baby that was free to roam around as opposed to one that was raised in a tub.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How is it? Y'all probably can't hear me. How is it different?
Yeah.
That's one of the reasons. Like, I'm really curious to see what the differences are. Oh, hey, CJ. Yeah, CJ's on a flight right now. So CJ is one of the Stella Jr. New baby daddies. So I've been sending him and his fiance updates. So this is Ara. She's one of the Anery girls. She's really, really pretty. She's really contrasty, like super white, but she's also like super white. Rosettes, thank you. And like really like jet black patterning. She's got really clean patterning too, which is fun. So she's really pretty, but she's also she wants to be out hanging out fun all of the time.
She's so outgoing. She's constantly like nosing at her lock to try and get it open.
Yeah. But yeah, I'm really happy to hear that the babies are like transitioning into their new homes, because their new homes are longer then like they have more space
Yeah.
in their new home. So
Yeah,
I'm really
4x2s
happy to hear
or
that they're
2x2s.
just like, cool, upgrade, let's
Yeah.
go.
Yeah, no, and we really appreciate kind of hearing that from you guys who've already taken a baby home, because it is really interesting to hear about how they're developing after leaving the nest, so to
Mhm.
speak.
That's so fabulous, Carrie. I'm so glad. Yeah, he was so outgoing here too. So I'm glad that's kind of, and that's like, there's like zero transition for him from here to your house. He was just like, all right, new digs, let's go.
Yeah, which is super fun.
Yeah.
So
You're so sweet.
yeah, so these two are super fun, and they are probably two of the most outgoing kiddos that are still here with us and not yet spoken for, probably. And we have them
We
out.
have Fuse, we have Etoile, we have.
It's true.
All of them are crazy.
They are all very outgoing.
Oh, that's interesting. Hey, Jay.
Hey, Jay.
Nice to see you.
Interesting comment from Maria. The others didn't have the strength to climb right away, and were a little bit wobblier.
I mean, it makes sense with the muscle tone because they don't get a chance to
Haven't had the
develop
chance to
it if
exercise
they're
yet.
in like a tiny little tub. So yeah, that's good to know. I did notice when I brought older animals home, their body tone definitely like increases. They want to move, they want to exercise. So that's wonderful to hear. Where are you going? Aura wants to go say hi. So I want to jump into a couple of questions from the Instagram story that I posted on Tuesday and the YouTube post. Ex Holly Isabel asked which baby we are keeping. So we are keeping Raiden, who was christened by Carrie. Carrie named him. Let me go grab him. Fire upside down.
Do you want me to get him so you can keep our out a little bit?
If you want, I was just gonna go snag him. But we're not gonna get Aura and him mixed up, so I was just gonna let Aura climb around the tree.
Fair enough. All right. Well, we can.
I'll be right back.
We can go get Raiden.
Yeah. You want to tell him what Raiden is?
Certainly. So Raiden is a male platinum motley snow. As far as this clutch goes, that's kind of the Cadillac as far as all of the possible genetics. He got it. We had two babies, one male, one female, that got essentially all of the morphs in visual, and that's Raiden, and Keone is the other. She's a female. So we're keeping one baby because we have to. This is just
we
a very
can't not keep a baby
Yeah,
from this clutch.
this
It's
is
so special.
very sentimental clutch for us.
Yeah. But yeah, this is Raiden. He's super handsome. It took him. He was a little bit more shy. It took him a little bit. Like he's still kind of coming out of his shell, but he was like on his shelf basking all day today. Oh, buddy, just napping away, and I can just go in and snag him out.
Yeah.
He's like a boy. But
So-
yeah, he's handsome dude.
Very handsome. He was probably on a little bit on the shyer side, as far as this particular clutch goes.
Yeah, that's what I was just saying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But he's definitely been getting better with interaction.
Yeah, he's coming up to the glass now. We took him out, like went in and got him last night. And then I went to go put him back, and he actually just turned around and came right back out, which he hadn't done yet. So that was fun. So lots of progress, which is, I mean, they're a little over. I mean, I guess they'll be 2 months. Are they 2 months old? They were 2 months old yesterday.
2 months old yesterday, yeah.
Yeah, so they're 2 months old, so they're doing pretty darn awesome for 2-month-old baby snakes. So yeah, the only Scotty got me, like she nipped at me this morning because I didn't realize she was in shed. I went in to check on her, and she just barely nipped me. I got her out anyway. I didn't use a hook or anything. She's just like, I don't want to be handled right now because I'm going into shed. I didn't realize she was going into shed until after I took her out. So we hung out for like 2 minutes, and then I politely put her away. You're careful. Don't fall. All right, do you guys want to go play on the tree? Gonna go retake today? Go climb around.
Yeah, Raiden has gotten me once as well. But
Yeah, so they are very social. They are very friendly. If you startle them and they feel threatened, whether it's intentional or not, which obviously we only is always an accident, then there's a chance they might nip at you because they're snakes, and that's just how they protect themselves. And I'm never gonna be mad at that. Or was like, ooh, smelly goodie.
oh, hello, Miles. How are you?
Miles, hello.
Miles, I just sent you some video of Nova. When did I do that? This morning? Yesterday?
Nova's awake too, so we can get her out.
Oh yeah?
Yeah, pretty sure. We're decorating this baby snake tree like it's a Christmas
It's a
tree,
Christmas tree.
but the ornaments are baby snakes. They're the prettiest ornaments ever.
Oh, Lordy.
Cuties. But yeah, the reel that I posted today of Starburst was all from this morning. I actually woke her up because she didn't want to come all the way out last night, and I missed her. I was like, come hang out. But since I woke her up, she then didn't want to go back in, so I left her out and let her play in the tree, and she actually wound up curling up and falling asleep for a couple of hours. It was really cute. Yeah, it's really amazing. They just want to hang out. They don't it's really awesome.
I was changing waters the other night, and I had Etoile out for a little bit while I was, just doing chores, just changing water.
Mm-hmm.
And I went to put her back, and she has already learned the trick of if her face comes back out before her tail gets in the first time, then I can't close the door, and she gets to continue playtime. So
Shy is a pro at that.
Shy is very good at that game. Yes.
Yep. Are you sniffing? This tree smells like all different kinds of retics because Centauri and Shahai have been on here, Shy has been on here, Aries has been on here, April has been on here, so it just smells like all the different retics. So all the babies are like, what? What are all these smells?
Well,
Oh, we have more questions.
we have more questions.
Somebody, RJ Locality Bows was asking about baby care. The way that we have them set up, it's pretty straightforward. We have them in their 2x2 bioactives and change their waters every other day, every day if they need it. That goes for all of the animals here. And then, they get fed once a week. They're on appropriately sized feeders, so they're eating small mice and extra small quail right now, but I think they're going to go up to medium mice this next feeding, like the bigger ones, because they're growing. They're growing like crazy. So yeah,
I would say one of the things that we probably, as far as baby care goes, paid the closest attention to right off the bat was parameters.
Mm-hmm.
Particularly,
that's good.
Yeah,
I about that.
Particularly their temperature, because since we set them up with, they're on an RHP, right? That's right above a basking shelf, and then they've got the floor of the tank, a little bit below. The basking shelf is about half height, essentially, of the tank. The thermostats were set at, for ambient temp, but we also were really, really paid a lot of attention to the temperature of the basking spot, because when they're smaller, they're just a little bit more susceptible to more extreme temperatures. So we were just cognizant of it at first, watching their behavior. Are they always spending the time on the floor? Are they always spending the time on the hotspot? Anytime that they're always doing one thing is kind of an indication of, is that because doing something else there's a problem with it. So that was probably, I would say, something we really looked at.
Yeah, that's something we kind of keep a consistent eye on, because you never know. We have the temperature guns, we check, do the temp check, both with the gobies that are in there all the time, and then the temperature gun check on the hot spots, just to make sure everything's sitting where it's supposed to.
Mm-hmm.
And that humidity is really easy right now because it's super humid in Baltimore. So we actually, I've been working in Baltimore. We're in Pittsburgh right now. In Pennsylvania, it's also very humid in Baltimore. But yeah, we just generally just run the fans a little bit more to help get a little bit more airflow and keep the humidity down when we need to. And then interaction is like just working on socializing them has been an important part of the baby care process for us as well, just because of how we approach our animals. So, are you going to try to get up on isopod beds like your dad does?
Now we have the UVBs that we have, UVA and B that we have are essentially like a fixture that mounts in the ceiling, and it's almost like just kind of a like track lighting fixture, which means that for their size, they're able to climb on that. And honestly, some of them have like literally eaten entire meals hanging from. Actually, Starburst and Raiden have both done that. Eaten entire meals hanging from their UV light.
Control's done that.
And
Odin's done that. I know Saturn's done that because Carrie let me know.
Carrie's
He's also
told us.
done it at home. He's done it before. I think he did it the meal before she came home too.
But
Yeah.
so because they have that tendency to climb on their UVs, we were also really cognizant of the temperature of the UV. It's an LED, so it doesn't get super hot, but it's also not, zero heat emitting.
Aurora really doesn't want to come off the tree. She's having too much fun.
She's holding on.
Are you just
um,
on each other?
So something that we did there was we actually looked at their kind of like behavior.
Mhm.
For the most part, they just kind of hang out during the day and they start to wake up in the evening. But they wake up before the lights are scheduled to go off as far as timers go.
Mhm.
So if they're going to be up climbing on lights that have been on all day, that can be when they're there, they're hottest, and kind of don't want that to happen. So we're also cognizant of that. So those are just the things that we look at from a safety standpoint. All right, so that was, I think, the answer to our kind of long-winded answer to our baby care question.
You had a long-winded answer to a question? I did the same thing, though. There's more questions on my Instagram screen. You can scroll over.
There's also a few in the
Okay,
YouTube chat.
yeah.
So let's do those real quick, and we'll hit your incident in a second. So we had a question saying, and this is from Carrie, long way off, but if we breed Twee-in-Law in the future, be interesting to see how baby boas develop in the bioactive setups.
Yeah, I'm curious about that too, Carrie. I'm also curious about the birthing process in a bioactive, because the moms give live birth, which is a little bit messier than hatching out of eggs for the most part. So it'll be interesting to see how that works and how we can manage that in a bioactive, because I don't want to. I want to keep them as natural as possible, the process as natural as possible. So we'll have to see how that goes, but I'm excited. That wasn't really a question so much as a curiosity.
Curiosity, an idea.
Let me go. I'm going to put these two back, and then I was going to go get Ursa.
Okay.
Right? Ursa is Miles's, right?
Nova.
I'm going to go get Nova. Sorry. I'll be right back.
All right. And then where do I find other questions? We answered that one. We answered that one. So Greg asked, why do retics have the personality of a golden retriever? Did you answer that one?
I answered that one already.
All right.
So it's any of the ones after the baby care. Roll to the right.
Got it.
Yeah.
Oh, I see. What is our favorite retic morph?
Harry, that's such a hard question.
You probably couldn't hear this, but Abby from the other room, I did not say who asked that question. Abby from the other room went, Carrie, that's such a hard question. So she previewed these and recalled. So yeah, that is a really, really difficult question. I think what has been really cool for me to see with, this first clutch of ours is how different morphs interact with each other. So like this entire clutch are Aneries, but the way, Tyr and Saturn and Etoile look, as platinum Aneries, is very different from how Nova and Ursa and Ash, as look as Henry Motley's. So that interaction to me is really, really, really interesting.
Adding Platy to stuff.
Just the way morphs change when they interact with each other.
Yeah.
Like Platy is so interesting because it's almost like a morph supercharger. Like it brightens and lightens.
Hello.
Hi, Raquel. It brightens and lightens. So like a platinum Anery Motley versus just a platinum Anery looks very different. And even like Tyr and Saturn have like all of these like peaches and greens, whereas like Etoile and Pan, who are also platy Anery, and Serena as well, are just a little bit silverier.
Like purpley silvery.
Right? Like
it's really weird.
They're all freaking gorgeous.
Yeah.
But
so Miles, this is your girl. This is Nova. She loves. There's one plant in her house that she absolutely loves, and she was slightly tangled in it. She was a little like, I want to do it myself, but she let me get her out, no problem. So
this is really funny to me. Maybe it's not funny to anyone else. So Ursa and Nova are both Anery Motley females, and they are both in like top right enclosures in each of their respective stacks, and they both love hanging out kind of in the same spot, like intertwined in their like neon pothos. I don't know, it just cracks me up.
Ursa hangs out in her cork bark more than her pothos.
Recently she does.
Yes, they're all growing like crazy. They're very healthy, active kiddos, which makes me very, very happy. They really take advantage of the light cycles that we give them, like the UV and the LED lighting. They really seem to be thriving off of that. So that's been really wonderful to see. Raquel asked a question about scrub pythons. I was posting a couple of videos of Cogs because I got him out today for the first time in a while. He'd been in shed for like 2 weeks, and then he got a meal, and then I was in Baltimore. So I got him out today for the first time in a couple weeks. And Raquel asked if scrubs are a good kind of like substitute animal, like if you want a retic but you live somewhere like Raquel where retics are not legal to keep, you can't get a reticulated python, dwarf, super dwarf, or otherwise. So I would say don't get a scrub unless you're really, really passionate and interested in working with a scrub, because they are very different from retics. Cogs is not choice based. I need to go in and get him out. They tend to, now this is my experience because I have one scrub python. I have way more experience with retics than scrubs, and even that, like, I haven't been keeping for a super long time. I've been caring for animals all my life, but snakes specifically, I'm still, a beginner, a newbie. I'm learning so much from these animals every single day. So for scrubs, definitely hit different than reticulated pythons. They're almost entirely, like, they're very arboreal. Once in a while you'll catch them on the ground, but they really like to be up high and perched and stuff like that. And that can be a little bit of a learning curve in how to work with them, because they're very reactive to stimuli that, from my experience, the retics don't even care about. So who's that?
Lyra.
Oh, I was going to guess Lyra. Hi, pretty girl. So I would say if you're looking for something compatible that's like you can get to the interaction level of a reticulated python, go with like a socialized carpet python, or get a carpet python that's really little and socialize it, because they tend to be a little bit more chillaxed, I want to say, than scrubs. Scrubs are just, they're different. Like, I'm really the only one that works with Cox in our household, because he's intimidating. He's a little over 5 feet, so he's still pretty tiny, but he's always been, they just hit different. But yeah, that would be my recommendation. I know that there are other pythons out there that are underrated, that can be incredibly incredibly interactive. I mean, I know Bolins are very like mild mannered and super wonderful animals, but they're also
It's hard to find, you're right.
$10,000. They're not really, you can find them easier now, like captive bred, there's not as many. You can usually find them because they're really expensive, so not a whole lot of people can afford to get them. But yeah, I would check out, like, there's what is it, Bismarck pythons. I'm trying to think what else. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
But I would definitely recommend a carpet if you have like wanted to interact with a retic and haven't had a chance to work with a lot of like the larger arboreal species. I would get a carpet python. Honestly, that would be my recommendation. Yeah. Let's see.
Maria's question.
Yeah, what is the light schedule you
cycle?
have them on? So their LEDs come on sunrise and then go off sunset.
Yeah, we
So it
typically
just matches what is happening.
spring, summer, fall. We do
Mhm.
sunrise to sunset. In the winter, when the days are shorter.
Yeah, we give them a little bit more light, and especially for like our rhino iguana, they need a certain amount of UVB across every single day. So yeah, in the winter time when the days are really short, we'll give them at least a minimum of 8 hours, I want to say.
I think we basically do like sunrise to like 6:30. So it's kind of like whatever is longer, sunrise to sunset or sunrise to 6:30 p.m.
I do.
We'll give them
Did
that.
I startle you with my nose? Hey, sorry. You're so sweet. So yeah, that's what we do. What made me want a scrub? How did that happen? I am this will come as a surprise to absolutely zero people. I am incredibly fascinated and interested in animal behavior. And I had heard from like Rob from Rob is Creeping It Real and Alexandra, the gal who produced Cogs.
Never Sun.
Never Sun on Instagram. How just like mindful scrubs are. They're just very, very almost uncannily aware of their surroundings and their environment. So I was always intrigued by that and wanted to experience that firsthand raising up a scrub. And felt comfortable jumping into getting a scrub because I had worked with both like raising retics from smaller little babies, like year-old or a little bit younger, and working with some of the more like adjusting a 12-foot animal as an adult into our home. So I felt pretty confident I could work through any behavior a scrub would offer. And so far that has been true. I'm not afraid to get bit. That's another important little thing because Cox is really, really good. He's actually only bit me, I think, twice. He's gotten Jody. Yes. But for the most part, he's pretty good. But their strike range is just so long and their aim is really good. So it's like one of those things you need to be comfortable with potentially getting tagged once in a while. So, hello. Yeah. You want my nose?
No.
But yeah, that was the scrub path. Olive pythons. Yeah, I've heard really awesome things about olive pythons. I don't know much about their personality, but they're an Australian species, so they're probably pretty similar to carpets. I don't know how many generations of captive bred they have gotten to with olives yet. I know with carpet pythons, they're like several generations deep in captive bred, and that seems to make a difference. That's the other difference between scrubs and retics. I think Cogs is an F1. Like mom was wild caught from Cox, I'm pretty sure. So he's like, there's definitely a difference as you get further into generations of captive bred. So you probably find more like deeper generations of captive bred and carpets versus olives. But again, I don't know because I'm not super well versed in olive pythons either. The UVB light. So the schedule for the UVB, we do it pretty much the same. We don't always turn it on every single day. Like if it's really cloudy out on any given day, I'll keep the UVs off, just kind of to give them a little bit of a like variation, I guess, in how much sunlight they're getting.
Like mimicking.
Yeah, mimicking
natural.
nature. Yeah, so it's not like every single day, because they don't need it to process like calcium and like, you know, not get metabolic bone disease. Like they can go a day or two here and there without UV and be totally fine. So yeah, I just kind of try and mimic what's going on outside for them. Yeah, Saturn's laid on the floor. Yeah, they get so like they grow so. It seems like they grow really fast, and then it's like you kind of stop noticing it for a while, and then you turn around and look like a year later, and they're 2 years old or whatever. You're like, whoa, you got big. Yeah. Let's see. How many
babies do we have left?
13. I had someone ask that earlier today too.
Well, 13
available
left that are available.
Yeah.
There's 21 still living here for the time being. That is going to be changing in the very near future, because we're just hitting kind of the sixth meal for a lot of them, and so 6 of them are off to their forever homes as early as this coming week.
Yeah, it's like it's awesome and also a little sad because we have to say goodbye to them, but I mean we knew that going in, and there's no way, like the responsible thing for us as, you know, the people who helped Stella hatch this clutch of eggs is to find them really excellent homes, because we do not have the time to care for that many snakes as adults,
or
eventually, as much as I would love to.
Space either.
Yeah, we would need to build something, so like an extra building, which we don't currently have the time or the space for. So yeah.
Speaking of which, we are so happy that, you know, so many of you who are taking home some of these animals are hanging out with us here as being part of this community. Mm-hmm. Because we really love hearing how they're doing. We love knowing that they're thriving. So Carrie and I have been workshopping a hashtag, and I will put it in
the chat.
In the chat, and it is a hashtag for this clutch. It's hashtag TCHK _AS24. So that's how we label the clutches, Aries, Stella, and the year. Is AS24. So if you post pictures of your kiddos, particularly on Instagram, tagging it with you know, that will just let everybody you know, kind of, you know, check in on siblings. We have there's a couple clutches that we have animals like Centauri's clutches like this. The whole clutch, everyone is just so madly obsessed with their personalities that we have 4 different friends who have animals from this clutches, and we're constantly like, how's Dimitri doing? How's Xander doing? It's really adorable. Cute. And I love having our animals having extended families.
Yeah, so Miles, we'd like to vary it. I would recommend if you're living in the Pacific Northwest, same with Pittsburgh, we get a lot of really cloudy days, especially in the winter. So we'll leave UV on when it's we'll put the UV on or UVB on for them on cloudy days, just so they're not going months without their UV. But yeah, giving them that variation they seem to thrive on it. So yeah.
Speaking of checking in on animals, you know, Carrie lives an hour from here. Maria lives 10 minutes from my aunt. Miles lives half an hour from Abby's sister. We absolutely will just invite ourselves to your house to visit babies at some point in the future when we're visiting family. We would love to visit with them. No, we won't actually invite ourselves to your house, but if you invite us to your house, we might take you up.
Yes, if we have the time, for sure. All right, so another question from Instagram. How many snakes do you have, and which one is the oldest? So we have, how many children we have now with babies? I've lost a little bit of a track because we've had some babies go home.
Okay, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 30.
The one-
32.
32. Okay. Yeah. And that's including the 21 babies. So we have 11 adult subadults. Yeah. And the oldest one is Stella. And I was actually going to see if she wants to come out because she's
Getting active, yeah.
Yeah. So I'm going to put Nova
babies away.
back. Do you want to put Nova back?
Sure.
And I can get, as soon as you until you get back. But yeah, I can get the mom out because mama of this clutch, Stella, is our oldest girl. She's a little, I think she's gonna be 9 at some point this year. I don't have her birthday. I don't know if we know when her birthday is. I need to ask Garrett. But she's looking awesome. She got a nice big meal on Sunday this past week. So I have her back on every other week for feeding. We had her on once a week for a while to kind of boost her caloric intake and help her gain some weight, but she's looking pretty good. I think she was having a hard time digesting everything all the way when I was feeding her weekly, so we're back to every 2 weeks. So as soon as Jody gets back to entertain you all and kind of, well, actually I can just do this because she is at her door. Oops, sorry, glasses and bags and stuff. So she's at her door there. So I'll kind of point you in that direction. And Stella, hi, baby. Hi, bud. Hi. I don't. Do you want to come out and say hello to your fan base? Hi, Mama. Hi. So she's doing much better in terms of, can you actually bring that computer over there? You got it?
Yeah, there's just stuff in front of the cable. So much for that.
Yeah.
I don't know where we are. Oh,
There we go. So because I don't tend to use a hook with her, she is 12 feet long, so I don't necessarily recommend not using a hook. But because I spend so much time with her, my general go-to is to say hello to her through the glass, and then when I open it, I usually just offer like a knee for her to sniff, and she's usually fine at that point. Hi, Tiddly. Come here. Do you want to come out and say hello? So yeah, this is our oldest girl. She's still not that old. Like retics can live up to 30 years as far as we know. We're hoping to find out and have several in our care into old age. But yeah, she is gorgeous. That's Mama. So this is essentially what we're telling people to prepare for if you're getting a girl from this clutch. As far as size-wise and what to care for. They might stay a little bit smaller, but I feel like it's better to be over-prepared.
Yeah.
As far as size goes, than be sold a snake that you're told was going to get 9 to 10 feet, and then all of a sudden you wind up with several extra feet of snake. And you're like, this is not what I signed up for. So, and we make it clear that they are estimates. Like we have pretty good information as far as the genetics of mom and dad, mom's mom. I think, did you get information on Aries parents?
Not a ton.
Okay. But regardless, we get as much information as we can, so hopefully we can get as best of an estimate as we can as far as size goes. But there's a reason it's an estimate and not a guarantee. She's moving
the tree.
I'm gonna let her climb for a second. I'm gonna grab paper towels and clean up her house. So she did pee in her house, and I can show you guys what it looks like when she urates in her house and what I do to clean it up.
By the way, DW says, not wearing black? Who are you and what have you done with Abby?
No, it's weird.
I'm wearing black. I'm rocking the Rolly Boys shirt
Nice.
today.
I mean, the reason I'm not wearing black is because I was in Baltimore all week, so all of my black clothes need to be washed. So But I have been trying to do more colors. Most of my stuff, even if it has colors, is also black. So yeah. So this is she didn't urate a lot. So I usually spot clean it. I try and make sure I'm not throwing away isopods. And then the other thing that you can do, if you feel like you need to, is just aerate it a little bit. And that's it. And that pretty much is the trick. Once in a while, I'll go through and like completely aerate all of the soil and make sure nothing's like smelly or getting moldy or musty or anything. But her isopod colony is so good in this. It's very easy. Let me go over this picture before you find me.
Speaking of Royal Bowie shirts, yeah, the in the larger tanks we have dairy cows. Do we have Oreo crumbles in the larger tanks as well, or just dairy cows?
Stella has both.
Uh-huh.
Aries has both. Twee has both.
Twee has both.
Yes.
So, for those of you not familiar with different flavors of isopod, dairy cows are really large and really prolific, and they are really good at taking care of protein as well as because they're so sizable, they can really get some good aeration done in the soil.
Yeah, I am starting a colony of giant canyon isopods because they love to burrow, so they're a really good option for enclosures, and they seem to be pretty prolific. That colony is gaining size. So
yeah, it's pretty recent, so they're not very sizable yet, but yeah. And then the babies all have Oreo crumbles, and part of the reason for that is that dairy cows are sizable enough that they could do a little bit of damage. No, that's not the reason.
That's a common misconception.
Never mind, that's not the reason.
Yeah.
So the babies don't have dairy cows. Why?
They're just too prolific, honestly. Like they'll just overrun the enclosure, probably. Like not overrun, but they'll outcompete the Oreo crumbles. And the Oreo crumbles are great for the smaller enclosures. With like the smaller retic poops, the smaller baby poops. Because they'll just they do better with plant matter decay and stuff like that as far as cleaning that up. So I just feel like they work a little bit better as far as balancing that out.
Got it.
The dairy cows will just be like, let's eat everything that is decaying. But generally with isopods, the only time that they'll start consuming something is when it's already decaying. So if you have a healthy animal in an enclosure, it's fine. They're not going to do anything.
Oh, thank you for myth busting me.
You're welcome.
DW says, speaking of isopods, what do you do with surplus isopods? We do this. She's trying to go behind it again.
She got a big old face full of spider webs.
Face full of spider webs. So
we keep 2 colonies of isopods of the dairy cows because they're so prolific, and just use the extras to repopulate enclosures, or when we start new enclosures, that these 2 were chock full. Hi, do you want some dairy cows? You don't need dairy cows. She takes every chance she can to get up here. I know.
Yeah,
you
so
don't need up there though.
what we did with these things are, Abby found these on Amazon. I think they're on our Amazon storefront. They are little
They're wine covers.
They're wine glass covers that are so if you're having wine outside, you put them over it to keep bugs out. And hey Jason. There we go. So basically what we do is we just cut holes in the tops with these and then just hot glued these down. And they're great to keep kind of airflow going in there. So we've got 2 colonies of Oreo crumbles, 2 colonies of dairy cows, and then over on the end, back over there behind Pip, we have let's see, red koi, zebras, and that's where the giant canyons are.
Yeah, the giant canyons.
Yeah, that we're keeping. So essentially, the way that we kind of propagate these is for the most part just keeping them with a good amount of moisture, leaf litter, and and then underneath here, wow, that's almost gone already. But you can see what we feed them there is the red shrimp, kind of freeze-dried shrimp that you can get in a pet store to feed fish and turtles and stuff like that.
Yeah, they're usually in the turtle section of Petco. Is where we usually get
in the turtle department.
Don't. Well, she's using me as a tree because of course she is.
Yeah,
that's what I am. giant moving? No, not even a giant. A small moving tree.
So having extra isopods, I think, is a really good problem to have, and keeping some in kind of standalone colonies in addition to what you've got in your enclosures is really helpful. For the baby tanks, we needed to order. How many additional isopods did we get? Something like 120?
200.
200.
Yeah.
We had to get 200 additional dairy cows in addition.
Oreo crumbles.
Sorry, Oreo crumbles.
Yeah.
From Roly Boys, because even despite having two pretty sizable colonies, we, with stocking essentially 24 2x2 tanks, we went through them pretty quick. So definitely a handy thing. It's like having an ant farm, only more useful.
Mm-hmm. I know you want to go over there, but I'm to go on this. You can go ahead and there's a question on my phone, the top question on the YouTube comments on my phone.
All right.
You can ask that.
I'm going to
It's a big question. Can I use the one?
park the laptop over here. All righty. And the next question is the top one.
Yeah, about the social media stuff. Did it go away?
It went away.
There.
Oh, here we go.
That's not that thing.
There we go. All right. The question is from Kevin the Grizzly, and it is: do you feel social media harms or will harm our ability to own large constrictors? And kind of parenthetically there, kind of the idea of having videos with poor husbandry or strike and bite videos and all of that.
Live feeding videos, stuff
Live
like that. The
feeding
stuff
videos,
that
yeah.
very often goes viral.
Yeah, the sensationalized
Yeah.
kind of aspect of things.
Yeah.
That is an excellent question. All right.
Yeah, I mean, it's a hard question to answer, which is one of the reasons I like it, because, like, I'm of the mindset I can't control anybody else other than what I choose to do. I'm very grateful that, at least on Instagram, like the videos that the content that I've been putting out and my experience with my animals has gained some traction. And like I've had several viral videos that I don't post bite videos. I think I have one educational video of one of the babies, Ash, striking at the camera just to show how babies experience the world a little bit differently than we do and why they might strike. But that's the only one. And it's literally up there like, trigger warning, strike at this point in the reel. It's not meant as a jump scare, it's meant to educate, all of that stuff. And that video didn't do very well, which I was actually kind of relieved about. Like all the ones that go viral are just like the snakes being their sweet selves. So,
Or clumsy.
or clumsy, yes. Just being their goofy, ridiculous selves. So finding that balance of being transparent of what owning a snake, especially bigger snakes like retics, is like, and not trying to leverage the negative to gain visibility on social media, I think is that balance that we need to find. Because they are snakes. They will sometimes strike at you. I think it's important to acknowledge that and know how your personal approach is in working through that, both for the animal and for yourself, because it's going to look different for everyone. Jody tends to feel more comfortable using a hook if he's dealing with a snappy or defensive animal. Unless it's cogs, I generally don't use a hook. I'll use a hook with April once in a while if she comes out hot, but like if it's just a like slightly defensive baby, I just have a different way that I work with them. But either way, we both have our way of dealing with it. I do think that the posting a bite video for the sake of wanting to get views and boost your own visibility on Instagram does everything for you and net negative for the animals themselves. And that's a problem because that could be leveraged in a very negative way by animal rights groups, by all of that stuff.
I agree.
Which I think, I mean, I do appreciate, I do think that the industry is moving towards like higher levels of care and and making that just more accessible.
Yeah, one of
So-
the things that
Are you going up the stairs?
one
Yes. Is it stair o'clock? Hi. Do you have a duck bunny on your
you would
nose?
think you can't lose a 12-foot snake, but then off she went. Anywho, one of the things that I like about having a Patreon community is there are certain things that we don't post. I say we, this is mainly Abby, don't post in just kind of open social media forum on Insta, on YouTube, etc. Because we don't want to sensationalize the negative. But we will post, feeding videos in certain circumstances on Patreon
Mhm.
because to some extent, that's just the reality of being a keeper, right? Dealing with a defensive animal is the reality of being a keeper, and having that there for educational purposes, I think, is important. Because I have certainly learned an awful lot from watching, Abby and more experienced keepers deal with that kind of thing. So I think it's good to have that information out there, but I think the other thing that we as a community can do is maybe avoid rewarding videos that that
And I don't think it's a community issue necessarily. I think it's the community leveraging how social media reads an algorithm.
Yeah.
I think that's, because like I shared when April bit me, like that's the first and really only so far really kind of bite from a bigger animal. It was a food mode bite, so it was a pretty decent. She nailed me pretty good, and I didn't try and hide that by any means. I shared story posts about like what happened and how we worked through it, and I should do a YouTube video on like redeveloping like confidence in working with an animal if you've gotten decently bitten by it. But I didn't, like, if I'm working with an 8-foot snake and I know that she is in food mode, I don't have my phone out. Like, all of my attention is on that animal. And I'm glad it was, because otherwise her partner probably would have, like her boyfriend that was in there with her probably would have not been around anymore. But yeah, that's antagonizing an animal to get it to strike so you can post it and sensationalize the behavior of that animal in order to get likes and views and follows. That's a bad look. It doesn't matter what the animal is. That's a bad look.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Well, it is 7:53. Did you have a thing?
We have one more question.
Oh, we have another question.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Yeah, I liked the seriousness of that question because I think it's a good one, but I wanted to end on a more like fun, like, oh, that's a fun kind of positive question. But you had a thing to say?
I don't remember what it was. What's the other question we have?
It's the one from Garrett. Well, I don't know if it was Garrett or it's Jeremy, but someone from
Oh,
Chat
from ROR.
Yeah,
So-
from ROR.
If you could have one fully sponsored reptile enclosure, what would it be? Fully sponsored reptile enclosure with the reptile.
Is it a reptile we already own?
That is the question that I was
Question.
that I was mulling over.
If it's a reptile we already own, I would probably there's three options I would need to choose from, and that would be Cox's full enclosure because he's going to have a higher enclosure because I want to make it more arboreal.
Mhm.
Indy, our rhino iguana,
Mhm.
because she's just going to need a whole like suite situation. She needs a lot of space. Or a optional cohab situation for the probably for Twee-in-Law, because I want to get them an enclosure set up where actually that would probably be the one I would do, because I want to get it set up where we can have like a movable partition to separate them when they're not in breeding mode, or when they're like, if we need to feed them and they're a little extra, or if Law becomes gravid and we don't want Tween there with her anymore. But otherwise be able to remove that partition and they can interact. Because there are the only two BIs that we have.
Yeah.
They're the only two BIs that we're ever planning on pairing. So I think that would be fun just to see what that would look like. I know Snake Discovery and Emily have a cohab situation for their, which ones? Some of their boas. I can't remember which ones.
I don't remember either.
There were some, like two of their huge ones. The ones that they rescued from the fire. At least one of them is. But I think that's really cool because they just keep them in there, I think, year round. And I think they might have removed the male when the female was gravid. I can't remember. But I think that's just a cool, like, give them a little bit more opportunity to interact when they want to, like when they're in breeding mode or whatever, and then have the space to get away from each other when they don't. So I think that would just be an interesting setup to see how it would work and how much space it would take and all of that stuff. So, and obviously, like, we would want to go through Toad Ranch if at all possible, because that would be amazing. But yeah.
That's a good answer. I like it.
Yeah.
If I were and part of the way they phrased this question was, if you could have one fully sponsored reptile enclosure with the reptile, what would it be? So I'm assuming they mean like new animal comes with it kind of thing. I don't know. I've never heard of that level of sponsorship. Carrie thinks it's their Argentine boas.
Oh, that's what it is. Yes.
Yep. So yeah, if we were to do new animal with the enclosure fully sponsored, I might lean towards Blue Tree Monitor,
Oh, that would be a fun one too.
because I think a really well done monitor enclosure can be, whoops.
Oh, honey bun, can you not knock off the isopod bins? That would be bad. Oh, look at your face.
We're only just rebuilding that
So
colony.
many
Yeah, I think a really well done monitor enclosure can be a really cool thing, because they use so much climbing space and whatnot.
Mhm.
Carrie says female golden child tiger super dwarf.
That'd be pretty. Be very pretty.
Golden child tiger. Golden Child is one of the ones that's funny for me. I'm not a huge GC fan, like GC by itself, but I think when you mix it with the right thing, like GC Motleys have just some of the wildest head stamps. GC Platinums, where like the dorsal stripe is so dark and then it kind of like pixelates out to a really light side stripe, I think is really cool looking.
Where you going, babe?
That's Carrie's dream girlfriend for Saturn.
Oh, nice.
Right. Okay.
And we're off.
Chill. Give me a second.
Stella's going around the desk.
I think that's all the questions that we had on Instagram or YouTube. Yeah, Stella's looking good. She's still in weight gaining mode, but
She's getting more and more active though. It's
yeah,
been
she
super fun.
is. Yeah, she's getting back to her interactive self, so that's been nice to see her out and about. So yeah, we'll have to see if she decided she wants to cycle this season or not. We're kind of leaving it up to her whether or not to pair her. So yeah. If I ever decide to curl from yes, yeah.
You do it.
Definitely. There's never a need to rush when it comes to making decisions for animals, because sometimes like FOMO inserts itself. But I've definitely found saying no to be one of the most important words and responsibly taking care of these animals. It's one of the reasons we don't. I mean, I know 32 animals sounds like a lot. 21 of those are babies, and babies that we are not intending to keep. One of the babies we're keeping, but yeah, that makes it 12 adults / subadults in our care, which comparatively speaking, it seems like a lot. Like it's a good amount of animals, like even for us that we're, he works from home. I will be home more starting decently soon. So yeah, I couldn't imagine having hundreds of animals. Like it just wouldn't work with our style of keeping. Let's put it that way.
This is true.
So yeah.
Oh, I remember what my thing was. I was going to ask everyone else, and maybe this is a thing for another time. I don't know if we have another, couple minutes if people want to hang out. But my question was going to be, for those of you who were here for Pre-Tick Fest and got to hang out and see, our nursery, which is a very different style of rearing neonates than is typically seen in the industry
Standard, yeah.
Yeah. What are your thoughts? What did you like about it? What did you not like about it? What did you notice that was, obviously the layout was different, but what did you notice in terms of how that impacted the animals? So that is my question for everybody. And
That's a good question.
I don't totally know where Stella is at the moment. I can see her
She's
tail.
right there. She's just hanging out by the door. She likes to hang out by the door when it's warm. She'll beg to go outside sometimes. It's getting dark, so I'm not gonna let her out right now. But she's similar to Aries. She'll go up to the door and beg to go outside sometimes. That's really cute.
Can we get like bells like you get when you're potty training a dog?
I mean, we could try. I don't think it would work.
Those animals are really missing out. Which animals do you mean, Maria?
I'm assuming that the tubbed animals.
Oh.
Assumption. Yeah, and again, this is our first clutch raising this way, so we'll obviously be making modifications and improvements as we figure out for ourselves what works and what doesn't. Like I stated earlier today on Instagram, like they have a lot of space in there comparative to, an animal, kind of an industry standard kind of space, and they use every inch of it and they still want to come out. So we do facilitate that for them so they come out for additional enrichment time. But I think it is testament to how interactive and social these animals can be, which is just blows my mind. It's his turn to go check on Stella.
I was just making sure she wasn't going behind one of the baby stacks, but she's in front of it.
If she does, she always just comes out the other side and comes around.
Just
so.
worry about her, unplugging something.
The cords, yeah, that's fair. Yeah, and that's the thing. Like, we're able to be at this point in our own personal caretaking journey because of all of the things that we've learned in past generations that we've been able to build on. So without the the different enclosures, without the experimenting with the tub situation and stuff like that, we wouldn't be here today. So I think there's room for acknowledgement and kind of appreciation of what we went through to get to this point. And not we personally, me and Jody personally, because we were very fortunate and privileged to be able to start everyone out this. We've never owned tubs or racks. We have tubs obviously for traveling and baths and stuff like that, but we've never owned racks. Racks definitely have their purpose depending on the species, depending on whether or not you need to quarantine an animal. It's a very safe, convenient way to do that. So they definitely have their place. It's just not our preferred norm. And we're lucky that we are able to do what we are doing because again, it's expensive. Hi, Kai, where are you going? You going to go right back where Dad got you from, huh?
Well, like you were saying earlier, saying no to animals in certain circumstances is really powerful. She's under the leg of the chair.
I see her.
And part of the
Just to go where she
reason
wants to go.
part of the reason that we are able to keep in the manner that we keep is partly because we've said we are going to keep our operation small. We're going to have a significant cap on the number of animals that we're going to keep, and that means that those that are here get more space, get more enrichment, and because of like the space issue caps the number of animals that we can have. It means that then that smaller quantity of animals, we can hang out with them more, they get more enrichment time. So it's limiting in some ways, but enabling in others.
Yes, exactly. So, yeah, and again, the way that we keep is it's a decent chunk of investment, like monetary investment. So it's not accessible to everybody. So we are very fortunate that we are able to do it. So as much of that as we can share with other people in the form of offering, very socialized, interactive pets, like that's kind of our goal. We really want to be able to service people who are seeking an amazing experience with reticulated python or any of the animals that we wind up pairing, by just getting them off to a really, really positive start.
Yeah, I like it.
Yeah, I mean, I think, that's a good question, the nature versus nurture. I think it's a combination of both, honestly, like, because you can go herping and catch a snake and be handling it, and it might musk on you, it might bite you, but you can almost always calm it down to the point of it just like chilling with you, which I think says a lot for the nature part of snakes, which is still blows my mind that they have such a negative rap. I'm like, what other wild animal can you go just like catch when you're outside and work with for 5 minutes and they're like cool with it?
Yeah, don't try that with like a deer.
Yeah, I wouldn't recommend it. Or like a bear.
Or even like a groundhog.
Yeah, sharp teeth. But yeah, I think that's, speaks for the nature part of it and nurturing part of it. Like if we can offer them positive experiences from their point of view. So kind of like an animal focused anthropomorphism to help try and understand better what they're experiencing and how they're experiencing things, and offer them interactions that work for them and housing that works for them. And again, it's going to look different across species. So not dissing tubs, not dissing rack systems. They all have their place. So yeah, but I am happy that the babies that people are getting from us are kind of maintaining their curiousness.
Yeah,
I hadn't even thought about the muscle tone thing until Maria brought it up, but that's really interesting.
It makes sense. Like giving them stuff to climb on, they're gonna work out.
Carrie, you probably could go hug a wild bear.
Once.
I don't think you should. But yeah. All right, y'all. I think
friends.
we're gonna wrap. Thank you so much for popping on. I appreciate it. If you're watching this after the fact, leave a comment. Let us know your thoughts. We're certainly not the first ones to do it this way. So yeah, keep on doing the darn thing, and we will catch you on the next one. Bye.
Ciao.
You Italianed the heck out of that ending.
I did. Mary's going back in the shed.